Good morning, Yasha Allah, and good morning to our beautiful world out there. We understand that according to our scriptures and the Most High Yahweh and His beloved, the Mashiach of the 12 tribes, Hamashiach, who is the title holder of the last book in the scriptures in the Bible. You know it, called Revelation. What does the first verse say? The revelation of Mashiach, the word of the Most High, as Ibrahim or Hebrew says in chapter 10, I believe it is, somewhere it says that the word maketh the son. But our subject that we're discussing right now is, who is AmaleK? And let's pin that down. Genesis chapter 36 and verse 11. Genesis 36, verse 11. We want to put that question to rest. Some people want to know. So the scriptures is here to help us. And remember, it is coming under the caption of our theme for this, this video series of the revelation of Mashiach, revelation of the Messiah, that comes from the book of Revelation. And in the first verse, it says, pointedly, the revelation of Hamashiach. And, there's a false name put in there to misguide you and mislead you. But in the Hebrew, it would be the revelation or the revealing of the Mashiach, of Yasha Allah, of the 12 tribes. So Genesis 36 and verse 12, verse 12 says, and Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz. Need you to get the word, the main key word that we expressed here in Genesis 36 and verse 12. It states that, and Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz. Now that word concubine, when we bring it, to the English rendition of concubine, I mean, in the Bahamas, maybe I could say particularly, we use the word sweetheart to denote a relationship of a man to a woman that he's not married with or married to. So we say, and a principal way of expressing it, that this man has a sweetheart. A lot of people use the word sweetheart to speak of, relationships kind of lightheartedly. But here in the scripture, the word sweetheart is actually denoted from what we have here in this verse in Genesis 36 and in verse 12 that says, and Timnah was concubine. So when we go to the scriptures and we see the word concubine, we know that it is a relationship where a man has a woman that he's not um, uh, principally married to or married with. Uh, Sometimes we use the word side chick. She is a side chick. And so the word concubine then means, it refers to a relationship between a man and a woman where the woman is not um, she's not given the title of wife. She's a sweetheart. And of course, men, some men, even many men, have many sweethearts. We read of Solomon or Shalomo in the scriptures having hundreds of wives. And I believe sweetheart is a part of the combination of the many wives that he had, or many women that he had. So again, Bereshith or Genesis 36 and verse 12 speaks of Timnah as a concubine. And she was a concubine to Eliphaz, who was Esau's eldest son. So she would be a sweetheart, or what was the next word? Well, the main word here is concubine. We were breaking down concubine. She was a sweetheart, not principally a wife. That's it. Okay. So we find out who Esau's sweetheart was, his concubine. And she bore him. She gave birth to his son, AmaleK. This is the root of AmaleK. All right, we can move over to the book of that book is one we know quite well. Let's see if I can find it. I think it is Habakkuk. I believe it's Thank you. Let's see. One second. We get it. We only want to show you who AmaleK is principally from the scriptures. And you know the scripture that says, well, let me give it to you this way. You go to the book of Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 6. When we go to Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 6, we find another reference to the bastard AmaleK in this term. Zechariah 9 hang in with me and go there. Zechariah 9 and verse 6. And you know this verse. It says, and a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. This is the same bastard that we read, or that we may read of, in Bereshith, Genesis chapter 36 and verse 12. The reference is made to that same bastard, who we find out to be the son of Eliphaz, who is AmaleK, the bastard son of Eliphaz. So this is the bastard that would dwell in Ashdod. And this bastard became a leading personality among the sons and dukes of Esau. He was a part of the formation of the dukes clan. And I don't know directly, because I haven't checked it to that point to find out if there were any other bastards in the dukedom or in the clan of the dukes, Esau's dukes. Of course, I haven't seen any pointed reference to clench the argument. So it's still open, to verify whether there were any other bastards among Esau's sons and dukes, his clan. For the moment, then, we find that there's this one bastard from Esau's clan, from his son Eliphaz. He had a bastard son called AmaleK, and we see him in Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 6. I read it again. And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. So, family of the 12 tribes, this bastard is the one who were among the dukedom of Esau. And not very long ago, we did a presentation where we showed the dukedom of Edom had rulership, as it were, all over or all through the earth. And we talk about, we mentioned, I believe already, our teacher, one of our sister teachers, Dr. Frances Cress-Welsing. And if you didn't realize, the Cress theory of Dr. Frances Cress-Welsing breaks down or pointedly describes Esau's rulership in the earth. And but she came out of the framework of the Egyptian how should I put it then? The Egyptian cosmology, I think that's the word. Talking about Egyptian rulers, Mizraim. We remember, I think, that the first official critical enslavement of the 12 tribes happened under the Egyptians and the Pharaoh. You know, the scripture talks about Joseph saving Mitzrayim from disaster by the vision and the advice of the Most High, who showed him what to do when Egypt and Mitzrayim was in crisis and needed rescue from starvation. The brethren, our brethren who talk about Egypt in such glowing terms, and they cast, you know, a serious separation remarks between us and Mizraim or the Egyptians, to the point of not wanting to acknowledge that we, under our brother Joseph, saved Mizraim, Egypt, from collateral damage, maybe irreversible damage that was happening to Egypt when famine came upon them. And because of a vision, a dream from the Most High that explained to Joseph what was going on, Pharaoh promoted Joseph to prime ministership of Mizraim, and under his guidance that he obtained from the Most High, he was able to save Egypt, Mizraim, and the same Mizraim of the Pharaoh that ruled Mizraim in Egypt when Joseph was alive. Another Pharaoh arose when we look at the book of Bereshit, Genesis, discussing the subject of Mizraim and how it was saved as a nation, as a country, by the intervention of the Most High through Joseph, one of the 12 tribes. And so that part of the history, the brothers today who talk about Egypt or Mizraim and how they were saved by the intervention of the Most High's prophet Joseph of the 12 tribes, they don't want to acknowledge that. And so they cast a whole lot of this aspersions upon the 12 tribes, not acknowledging that it was from the 12 tribes and Joseph's administration of the vision that the Most High gave him, whereby he was able to assist the Pharaoh, who gave him position and authority in Mitzrayim, and he saved Egypt, Mitzrayim. And in the course of time, another Pharaoh who didn't know Joseph and was willing to cast aside the truth, the knowledge that Joseph saved his country and his people from famine, starvation, and destruction. The Pharaoh gave himself over to the will of the pantheon of, gods that, of course, was headed by Gadriel, Satan, the fallen one, who led the Pharaoh to set aside the good name and the works of Joseph of the 12 tribes. the good work and salvation that the people of the 12 tribes did for Pharaoh and Egypt, Mitzrayim. They threw that away, and under the, or with, or by the direction of Satan, they enslaved the tribes in Mitzrayim. This is where we have I guess I can say, use the word chronicle, of the brutal enslavement that Egypt, Mitzrayim, did to the 12 tribes. And it is the protocol that Esau followed by the hand of AmaleK. When he got his ships together. We know the story or the narrative in Deuteronomy chapter 28. It gives a description of the enslavement of 12 tribes under the brutal work of the Pharaoh who enslaved them. Well, we get to find out that in Esau's cosmology, in Esau's world, he was led with the breakup of Alexander the Greek. He was led by Alexander's generals that went into Mizraim, into Egypt, to get the knowledge of the enslavement process that is described in the Zohar, that is called the Jewish Zohar, and the other appending book with it, that they used the protocol of slavery, enslavement, that Alexander and his boys learned from their contact with Mizraim. Of course, Alexander by this time was dead, but his generals were led into Egypt by Satan to learn this enslavement process that they came out with and used against the 12 tribes. And you will go back into Mizraim, into Egypt again, by ships. Deuteronomy chapter 28. We know the verse. It is by Alexander's generals who learned the enslavement process of Mitzrayim that they used to enslave our people with. So Esau worked his thing in Mitzrayim, learn everything, and came out armed with terror to use his enslavement knowledge and power, since they were in power then. By this time, they were exercising great authority. And so the process was put in operation a little bit away from the process of Nebuchadnezzar's tactics and enslavement works. So back to Alexander and the Greek. Esau's enslavement of the 12 tribes It is from Mizraim, Egypt, where they learned of the Egyptian enslavement of 12 tribes. And they used its protocols. Speaking of the Greeks, Esau, AmaleK. This is where they got it from Mizraim. And harass, brutalize the 12 tribes, as the Most High says. And I will bring you into Mitzrayim again by ships. This is how it happened. And Esau, through AmaleK, the bastard, got his way to destroy so many of the tribes of Yasha'Allah. That brings us to where we are today. Exercising ourselves in the matter of release from that 400 years enslavement to come into the sealing of the Most High by the hand of the Mashiach is what we are faced with right now. And so now we know Yasha'Allah, what's going on with our matter, and we encourage to trust in the will of the Most High by the Mashiach that He has chosen and anointed to be not only prince over the 12 tribes, but king. This is the revelation or the sum of, or part of the transaction of the revelation of Hamashiach, which Elohim Yahweh gave to him to show to his servants things that must shortly come to pass. It's where we are now in the framework of prophecy and the timing of prophetic events. So with that, we say to Yasha'Allah, may the Most High cause His face to shine upon you. May He bless you and keep you, Yasha'Allah. Give you shalom in the mighty name of our Mashiach and our soon coming King, Mashiach, the Blessed One. Take heart and take courage, because our helper is mighty and will and shall deliver us in His time. So let it be.